I just think it starts with my dad and like pushing me to, ever since I was a little kid, he's just like, hey man, play as long as you can because I wish I could go back and play a little more.
He's like, he told me he wanted to go to App and walk on.
The entire team is sitting outside on the fence. They're like, all right, you're going after Eli, who was at the time like the biggest dude on the team, lefties, chucking. I'm like, all right, here we go.
How many kids were there? How many tryout kids?
I just tried out.
Just one person?
I think in my tryout, I hit 89 for the first time. Like, should I really be here or am I supposed to be here? I think it's just important in that sense to just, we know the Lord and obviously he helps us through everything. Like 225,
225. The dude weighed in his freshman year at 170. You're throwing gas. You're throwing pretty hard.
Just try and love like the Lord loves and just try to serve others.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Doubted Podcast. I'm excited about our guest today. Played for me back in the day. He's at Appalachian State right now, Jordan Fisher.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, Dustin. Always good to talk to you and hang out. And my name's Jordan Fisher. I'm a pitcher at Appalachian State. And just a little bit about me. I'm a redshirt junior now. And I just started grad school. And my mom, my dad, and my sister are my immediate family and just, who my life revolves around. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome, man. I just want to, most of our guys on here, or girls or whoever we have, we just want to know their story. We want you to tell your story, and maybe that story will help someone along the process. Maybe someone's going through something that you went through, and they don't want to talk about it, and they can watch this and they can get some, they can get some feel for other people who are going through it. Mm-hmm. So honestly, just start and talk about how everything worked, man. How you started playing ball, when you did, your family and stuff like that, and we'll get going into it.
Yeah. Originally, I was born around D.C. area, Fairfax specifically, Virginia, and I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina when I was 2 years old, right after my sister was born. And I've lived there my whole life, been in the same house in Denver, right around Lake Norman. And so I started playing ball ever since I can remember, but really just my dad baseball's always been pretty much what my life revolves around. So ever since I was probably like 3 or 4 years old, I've been, hitting off a little kid's tee or, playing with a little basketball hoop in the yard or whatever it might be. Just my dad just, pushing me to play sports and just, have fun with it. Yeah,
so your journey's been a little crazy. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on here is you didn't have the easy road, as you can say. So let's talk about like your high school and COVID and how all that happened. That was probably the craziest times we're ever going to live right here, until Jesus comes back. Yeah, but that was wild with sports and everything, and it put a lot of confusion in athletes and worry and stress and way more than it should have. Mm-hmm. So I know you were in high school and you went to East Lincoln. That's what I thought. So East Lincoln, and you were a junior. How was your freshman, sophomore year?
My freshman year, I was on JV. I was just a little scrawny kid, kind of tall. Braxton can attest to this later, and obviously you can too. Yeah. But really, that was my early heat days. And,
yep.
Just, scrawny kid trying to figure it out, just like everybody else. And then sophomore year, I ended up getting put on varsity to throw, and I hit a little bit, but that was never my thing as much. Yeah. More pitching, and I had it was a good time. And then when junior year hit, that was kind of when all the COVID stuff happened. So
you were you came to us with 5-star heat. Mm-hmm. When you were, I think it was a freshman, right?
It was freshman,
yeah. And you were super tall, mm-hmm. super skinny. Mm-hmm. Obviously not now.
Yeah.
You've gained some weight in college, and they've really put it on you. And we can touch on that too. Mm-hmm. But you were, tall, scrawny, and probably threw around 80.
80-ish.
Maybe. Yeah, like filled the zone up, but mm-hmm. just didn't have no velo. And but you pitched well. Like mm-hmm. you threw well, you hit spots, but. Going into your junior year, after we played freshman, sophomore year with the Heat and did all that, then you went to 5-star Carolina mm-hmm. with our older groups and stuff like that, and started progressing a little bit. Mm-hmm. Now, with that being your junior year was coming up, and then COVID happened. I think you were pretty prepared for that year. I think you were set. You were excited, and then that happened. How did you react? How did you get through that?
I mean, I remember exactly when it happened. It was like March 13th, and it was our last game. It was on that Friday, and we played Newton Conover, and I remember the game. It was just like nobody really knew what was going to happen, and then the next day everything got shut down, not knowing it was going to be only a 4-game season, and that would be it for our seniors, and that would be it for me for my junior year. And even our younger guys, we were really excited for that year because we had a lot of young guys that were really good, and that ended up going to some good schools, and I got Graham playing with me now, so that's pretty cool too. Yeah. But I mean, initially when it hit, we really didn't know what was going on, obviously, and then as like the spring progressed and as school got shut down, and then as like travel ball was like done, college coaches couldn't go to anything. It was like, well, we have no idea what we're doing, so it was just kind of like baseball was kind of just put on the back burner, and we were just kind of shut down for a while. So it was kind of.
That's crazy to me. I try to put myself in that situation, and I don't know what I would have done. I would have lost my mind. So we talk about that junior year, and then senior year comes around, and it's a weird schedule, right? It's a 2-game, it's a Tuesday, Friday, and you had to play the same team. I think it's same team twice, right?
Same team twice.
So say you played Newton Conover, you had to play them Tuesday and Friday.
Yeah.
And that's just crazy to me because, I mean, you can do some things as a coach to win both those games and make it work. But you got stuck, tell me if I'm wrong, but you got stuck on pitching Tuesday games, which were all away games. Your senior year. Yeah. So, obviously, that's another, like, letdown for you and another hurdle you have to get over. And, how did you – what was your mindset? Like –
I mean, I got to
the people and tell them how you got through that.
Yeah, so my senior year, we had 14 games in regular season, and then we played all conference games, and we played the same team twice every week. So we kind of knew exactly what the schedule would be and exactly who was throwing what games, and I just happened to always have the Tuesday game, which was cool with me. As long as I was pitching, I was cool. But, yeah, it kind of was a little odd just, like, being at home, and I wouldn't be pitching because I knew that was, like, for me, that was what my bread and butter was. I wasn't ever, like, a hitter and I like playing third base, but, pitching was my thing. So I just kind of, owned it, and then just, whatever's best for the team, that's cool. So if we got to throw out Tuesday, then.
And I think that's the biggest thing, getting into the story we're about to tell about App State. I think good things happen to good people. And I think you have a great mindset of what's best for everybody else. You're selfless. From what I see, you know what I'm saying? From seeing you from the outside, you're selfless, and you just have a great mindset of team before self type deal. Like, dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, if I was told my senior year I was gonna pitch all away games, I don't know what I'd be. Now, I wasn't saved back then, so I would have probably freaked out and been like all kinds of crazy because I want to pitch at home with my own fans, and I want to see that. I don't want to travel an hour away and pitch a game. Like, a competitor is going to compete no matter where, but it's a downer. And I respect you for doing that and how you work through that. So now let's get into the recruiting process because that's kind of crazy. So talk about that, how, we did everything we could, called people, sent videos. Honestly, the COVID messed it up, and your velo at that time before they could come watch you because they got shut down and they couldn't even come watch you. Yeah. So then it's like, how am I supposed to get seen? The social media wasn't as crazy back then, so you couldn't go throw a bullpen in a facility and show your numbers or anything like that. So it was really like a weird time in life where it's like, what do I do now? Because nobody knows. They can call everybody they want, tell them all about Jordan Fisher, but nobody wants to give nobody money if they don't physically see them. So how did that work?
So I'll just start like that sophomore year. Like I'm probably topped out at about 82. Like nothing crazy. I don't throw anything near what I used to throw, so I can't even really attest to any of what I used to throw like. But I would just say like trying to get videos out like late sophomore year into that summer or like winter before COVID, that last fall season I played, that was like the main thing. And then just always trying to email coaches was big. And then COVID hit, and it was like, all right, well, baseball is kind of shut down. And then, my dad got me kind of ramping back up towards the summertime after COVID had hit, and like there's no baseball anyway. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go try and figure out what I'm going to do. And then it was like, okay, we'll go to the facility and we'll try and get a little video, try and post it on Twitter, see what we can get. But it was never anything crazy. And yeah, like my recruiting wise, I never really, I reached out to a lot of people. I didn't get much back at all.
Yeah, I remember that. There wasn't much going on. And then you played your senior year. You had a pretty good senior year, I thought. Yeah. So what was your senior year?
Senior year, I threw 7 games in the regular season, and then I started the first game of the playoffs, and we ended up winning that. And one of my buddies got hurt in the first inning, who usually would come into the end of the game when I would be like almost at my pitch count, so I'd be at that 4 to 5 day limit. I can't remember exactly what it was, but then I would be able to pitch the third round if we win the second round. But he ended up getting hurt early in the game, and so we ended up winning that game late. I threw 6 2/3, and I had like 105 pitches or whatever the limit is, and so I couldn't throw that third game of the playoffs. So we won the second one like 11-1. Then we ended up losing to Forbush in the third round, and I couldn't throw. So that was obviously kind of like a bummer, but that's just kind of how it went. And I had a good year. I was probably only up to like 86 my 86, senior year.
Okay, so 86 senior year. That's a good velo for a high school kid. I mean, that's
still
average.
I had no idea like I thought I knew something about weight room and eating and mobility. I had no clue.
Yeah. So you go through that. So then you get to time to go to school. So I'm sure you're smart. So I'm sure you already had people that are schools that you were going to go to. And then your dad talked to me, and he said, he told me he wanted to go to App and walk on, and you thought he was going to be upset with you when you told him that, because he's like, nah, you've done everything you've done in ball. It's up to you now. Like it's your life. It's what you want. And so you took that journey. That's not an easy journey to walk on at a D1 college, and nobody really know what you are. So let's walk through that whole scenario, because that's wild to me, because I didn't do that. And for people out here that do walk on, I think it's something for them to know. Like, it's not an easy journey, and it's something that you have to be very passionate about and know that that's what you want, because it's very easy, and you can get into that. It's very easy to just quit.
It's very easy to quit or get in your head and not, think you're good enough or whatever the situation might be. And I've definitely had my fair share of that. But I just think it starts with my dad and like pushing me to, ever since I was a little kid, he's just like, hey man, play as long as you can, because I wish I could go back and play a little more, just one more game or one more bus ride or whatever. So I think that's kind of what stuck with me through all that, and like getting recruited and not getting recruited, that happens. And just I happened to be at the time of COVID, so that's cool. Like, just figured it out, we'll navigate. So yeah, I had a couple small offers from a couple JUCOs. I had a couple options to go to, and then a couple small D2 schools. And I was just like, man, I really like App. I like being there. I visited the school. I went on a couple more visits to other schools in North Carolina, and I was like, man, I just like App, so I'm gonna go there, try and stick it out, and we'll see. Like, if I play club for 4 years, cool. I'll still be playing ball, but I think I'm going to try and go for it.
So how did that work with Kermit? Did you just like show up, or did you like call Kermit, or like, I have no idea. Like,
so initially it was a text thread between Coach Mattil, who's my high school coach at East Lincoln, and Coach Smith. And Coach Mattil had reached out, and like we were trying to figure out when the tryout date was for walk-ons. And obviously I knew Braxton and just from high school and stuff. So I knew he was there, just asking a couple questions here and there, like, hey man, like, you heard anything about the tryout, whatever. I'm like, and like, obviously sometimes schools don't hold tryouts every year. So they happened to have a spot. So the date had come out a few days. It was September 12th, I think. But my high school coach had texted me. He was like, hey, tryout date is this. And then like the next day it came out on Instagram that the tryouts were the day. And I was like, all right, well, here we go. So I went up, trying to figure out all the paperwork and everything. And I had never met any of the coaches or anything. And I went up and turned in my paperwork one day, and I saw Coach Jay there and met him for the first time, and that was cool. Got to go down and step on the field, and I was like, it was like a surreal experience for me, and I was like, wow, like okay, this is real now.
Yeah.
And so then a few days later was my tryout, and yeah, so it was pretty cool.
So let's backstep that for a second. Whenever you graduated high school, I remember you coming to the facility and working. I don't think you worked with me. I think you really hit with pitched with Patrick.
Yeah.
Just to like get ready. Like you knew what was going on. And that's kind of crazy to me too. It's like you had that mindset that this is what I want. And I'm going to give everything I can. And if I get denied, then I get denied.
Yeah.
But at least I can look back and say, I did what I can.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you left high school, you said you was an 86.
Yeah.
Okay, what were you at when you tried out for App
So,
State?
yeah, we'll go back to, like, Patrick and stuff. So, after high school, like, my last game, I was, like, falling apart. I was like, that's my last baseball game ever. So, I'm like, dang, like, I didn't realize it was going to hit me like this. And then I kind of talked to Patrick a little bit about doing a program over the summer just to make sure that I'm ready to try out in the fall. And I went up to the heat facility up probably like, I think it was 5 times a week the whole summer.
And you drive like, what, 45 minutes?
Yeah, it was like 40 minutes.
Yeah, like it's not an easy drive.
Just from Denver to Hickory. And I was just like, it was good though. I enjoyed it. I got to hang out, listen to music, and I was just like getting ready for my day. But yeah, I went in there. There was like a group of like 4 or 5 of us every single day. And, we got up there. We did our mobility. We did our throwing for the day. We did our lift. We did our running. And see you tomorrow. So that was kind of how my whole summer was kind of revolved around that, just kind of getting ready to see what would happen. And then when I got to school, the tryout was mid-September. So I had like 3 to 4 weeks of just being at school and like figuring out how to throw. So I got in with the club guys at App, and I got to throw with them and kind of just get my work in with them.
So then you had that, you talked to Kermit, and you sent all that stuff out, and then like, what, did he just call you? Like,
so yeah, I had my tryout. My tryout was like,
how many kids were there? How many tryout kids?
I just tried out.
Just one person. So it was up to you to make.
Yeah.
There was no other people trying.
No one else like got their paperwork in, I guess. So I was the only one that was there.
Okay.
And so I kind of just rolled in to the first day of first day of bullpen, like fall bullpens, and we were all like in the left field bullpen, and like pitching coach was right above the mound, and then like the entire team is sitting outside on the fence, and there's like a few pitchers in the bullpen, and then Braxton was in there, so I was like, okay, I know somebody.
Yeah.
So, Braxton ended up catching my bullpen when I tried out, but I kind of just joined in, and they're like, hey man, you're going to go after this guy. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, you're going to warm up with Matt Anders at the time, who was our manager.
Yeah.
And warmed up with Matt, and then I go in the bullpen, and they're like, all right, you're going after Eli, who was at the time like the biggest dude on the team, lefties, chucking. I'm like, all right, here we go.
Here we go again.
And so I just go in, like, meet Coach Spo, who was our pitching coach at the time, and then talk to Coach Smith for a second. He's like, all right, yeah, like this is how it's going to go. You're just going to throw your bullpen, show us all your stuff, and then, we'll see how it goes. So I threw, and it was pretty good. Like my bullpen, I was happy with it just because I was just happy to be there. So it was just a surreal experience for me. But yeah, so I got finished and then ended up going home, and Coach Smith had talked to me after. He was like, hey man, whether you make it or not, like I'll have you up here and we'll talk to you and just kind of, run you through it. So it was awesome.
Okay, so then you threw a bullpen. Where were you at? The crazy thing is how much weight and growth you've had since you've been there. Where were you at when you tried out? What were you, 170, 180?
Yeah, so tryout, my first weigh-in was that next week after I had made it in the weight room, and I think I was like 174. Okay. I could be a couple pounds off, but around there.
You were light.
I was like 6'4", 174.
Yeah, you were light. You were light. And 86, 87, 88, somewhere around in there, right?
Yeah, I hit 88 for the first time in the summer with Patrick.
Yeah.
But that was just like throw as hard as you can, see what you can hit. And then I think in my tryout, I hit 89 for the first time. And then the last like bullpen of the fall, when it was like, hey man, rip it as hard as you can, I hit 90 for the first time.
So, okay, so then you made the team, and then you're jacked, obviously, because your dreams are coming true.
Yeah.
What, so walk me through, like, after that. So now you're throwing gas. You're throwing pretty hard. What did you do? Like, obviously the weight training's huge, and for all y'all watching, like, we talk about weight training, we talk about growth. We talk about eating healthy. We talk about all them things. This is an obvious testament to that because my dude's, what do you weigh right now?
Like 225,
225. The dude weighed in his freshman year at 170. Like, that's a lot of weight. And it's good weight. The dude ain't rolling around here.
That's from my mom. That ain't from anybody else. My mom's the nutritionist. She knows. Yeah.
Gotcha.
She knows what she's doing.
Shout out to mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give her a shout out here. Yeah. So you go through that, and then now you're pitching. Now you're playing. So how is it going?
I mean, initially, my freshman fall, I had a good fall. For me personally, I was just, I was happy to be there still. So I was just trying to compete, trying to see if I actually fit and see if like I actually belong there. That was kind of my whole first 2 years was like, man, should I be here?
Yeah.
Like
Doubting
mentally,
yourself a
I was
little bit,
like, man, like, should I really be here or am I supposed to be here? Like, did they make the right decision on picking me to be here?
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, I got caught up in like my performance a little bit and kind of how I performed was how I felt when I went home. So then that's another thing, like struggling with that. And Braxton can attest to this too. Like, I mean, we've been through some stuff mentally with all the performance and like how bringing things home affects you. And I think it's just important in that sense to just, I mean, we know the Lord and obviously he helps us through everything. So I think that's just kind of what we lean on all the time.
I think you have to lean on him through everything, obviously. But I also think that I think it's a God thing that you're there. Obviously, now your sister's there.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool to go to college with your sister. Go to high school and college with your sister.
Yeah.
I'm an only child, so I don't know nothing about that. But I think that would be so cool. And for you to make that whole journey, I think people on here will respect that. Because there's a lot of people in that situation that you just don't know. And there's a lot of people that have all these thoughts and these worries and everything, and it's good for kids and parents and everybody to hear your story because everybody's D1 or bust all the time, and that's a great thing. But you were understanding of like, hey man, I chose this because I actually want to go to school here. My education's very important to me, right? There's not people don't make you don't get paid unless you're at the top.
Yeah.
And it's very 1%. And 1% is a very low number. So I think going into this, like we talk in some of the other podcasts, it's like, what's your goals? Like, what's your life goals? And I think yours was really good. And I think you've made a great route with doing this because some goals are like, I just want to go to school. I just want to go play ball. I don't care if I play, I just want to be on that team. Well, that's not me. If I'm going to go, I want to compete for a job first off, and I want to have an opportunity to play.
For sure.
I don't want to go set for 4 years. And I just think that's an awesome thing. And so what could you tell kids going forward about your story and kind of give them light on where they need to be mentally? Because mental, you kind of hit on that a little bit. It's not only in college.
Yeah.
I mean, these kids are going through this at 10, 11, 12, 13 with their parents so pressuring them so much. I mean, I see it every day. And they're pressuring them so much. My dad and mom never pressured me. Like, I'd be like, Dad, let's go hit. I'd be like, he'd be like, oh, again? We just hit 3 times in 2 days.
Yeah.
Like, no, let's go hit again. Let's go hit wiffle balls in the yard or whatever. I think the kids have to want to do it.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think you can just push it on them and push it on them and push it on them. Because it's like with lessons to me, if a kid don't want to be there, the lesson's not going to be good.
Makes it hard. Yeah.
It's not going to be good because they don't want to get, they're just there. And I think that's the thing that people need to understand is like, as parents, it's like, you don't want to just keep pushing, you're going to run them away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like, I like your story a lot because your dad was and your mom, so supportive in everything you do. And God has just shed a light on it and just showed you that he's in control and you just trust in him and it'll work out. It might not, like I said, it's in his way, but you might not have made that team, right? But at the end of the day,
without my parents, I would not have made that team. But
at the end of the day, you made the team, and now you're on this podcast telling your story. Your sister's in college with you. I mean, like it's it's heartwarming to know that these things happen. And a lot of people, that's why we started this podcast, is because people wouldn't know that about Mr. Fisher if you wasn't on here and told your story. So what's your plans going forward with ball and education, and what do you want to do in life, and kind of talk about that a little bit?
So I majored in business management initially in college in my undergrad, and I just started the accelerated master's program to get my MBA for my next year because I have my redshirt year of eligibility. So I'm going to take that and do my MBA at the same time. And for ball, I mean, I just bring my energy every single day, just try and, be a light to the guys and just get better every single day. And there's always room to get better. So just kind of listen to everyone around you and take things from everybody and fail quickly.
So I got two more things. So obviously you're a good dude. I mean, people that watch this is going to know, or people that know you in ball with Brax or whoever. Like, I think that's why you were so accepted with App State, because you're just a good dude. You're fun to be around. You're good to talk to. You have a good head on you. I think you're a good person. I think another thing to talk about is who you surround yourself with, like on a daily basis, right? Because that affects your play, your sleep, your grades, everything. So touch on like how you pick your friends on, I guess. That would be the easiest way to say it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on a team, you're around them 24/7. So I think just making sure the guys are like family, because they are, and we're not going to be here like playing baseball for really like a living. Like we're playing baseball and living in college and like being with the boys all the time. You only get a few years of that, so just try and enjoy it as much as you can and just love on everybody around you. I think Coach Smith says this all the time to us, but just serve others. Like, I think that kind of sticks with me all the time. Like, just try and love like the Lord loves and just try to serve others. So I think that's kind of what kind of pushes me to be better. And just based on the people who I surround myself with, I mean, I'm in FCA. I'm an FCA leader, and I'm in SAC at App. So, and I have these guys every day. So, I mean, can't get much better than that. I have a good group of athletes around me and a good group of friends in App. My sister's there. Her friends are great. And just kind of, being around people that love like you try to love.
Yeah, for sure. I got one more question. We'll wrap this up. How did you use God through this whole situation, your whole life, right? Like, how did he help you through this? How did he comfort you? Like, what, kind of how does that work for you?
I mean, I think there's obviously like power in prayer. Just spend time in the Word and like be around people that have similar mindsets as you. Like, the Lord will place people in your life who you need, and he'll take people out of your life who you don't need. And I just think relying on him and always praying about everything, like, don't hesitate to, it doesn't have to be like a thing where you have to sit down in front of your Bible and pray. Like, man, I prayed so many times in the truck just driving around. Like, that's the best time. Sometimes,
long time.
yeah.
It's a long time.
And, sometimes you start crying. Sometimes, you don't know what to say.
Yep.
Even if it's just silence, like, it's worth something. So, and, other than that, I think just the Lord places people in your life who matter and who you need. So I think just relying on him, keep praying about it. And he's brought some pretty special people into my life recently and in the long run. So just kind of trusting him through that.
Awesome, man. Well, I've enjoyed your story. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man.
Till next time.
Thanks for having me.